This is Gene Weathers live down at the Maze Bank Arena, where there's going to be a battle of two titans in a formal debate of intellect and wits. We're joined with Sheriff Morimoto, the incumbent. Alongside him is the other candidate, Jasmine Kelly, the undersheriff. Who's going to win the debate? Only Los Santos will decide. Now, the format's pretty simple. We're going to be taking questions. We already have some questions emailed to us directly. I'll be asking some questions as well to break the ice. And then from there, we're going to be going to the audience. Now, the format's going to be at least 1 minute of response time by both candidates. They'll be able to rebut each other. You can get into heated debate, but we'll keep it civil, okay? Fix it. All right, we're getting underway here now. Let's. We already decided who's going to go first. So, Sheriff Morimoto, first question is going to be: what has inspired you to seek re-election?
There's still some stuff that I feel that needs work on in the sheriff's department, and I'd like to get that taken care of. This last term has been pretty successful. We've made lots of improvements, and we're moving forward in a good place.
Yeah, very well, thank you, Morimoto. Under Sheriff Kelly, what? Same question. What drives you to seek this position?
Well, I like the sheriff. I know that there are some things that we could always improve on. I've got a couple of ideas, and so I feel if I end up sheriff, then I can oversee the implementation of those from my own ideas and guidance.
Very well, very well. All right, Sheriff Morimoto. Well, actually, sorry, Under Sheriff Kelly. We'll go with you this time. We have a email question from Twitter. One of them says, "What's your position on the legalization of crack cocaine, medical crack cocaine?"
It says legalization of medical crack cocaine?
Yes, legalization of crack cocaine.
I don't have any medical reports or documentation to support any benefit like people have for weed and whatnot. So it would, right now, I'm against it, but it would require further research before I can even give a legitimate position on whether that is something to be discussed for our city or not.
Yeah, very well. Sheriff Morimoto, same question.
I'm with Under Sheriff Kelly on this one. There's been no medical research on legalization of crack cocaine nor its benefits towards individuals.
Yeah, very well, very well. You guys seem to agree on that. All right. We'll move on to the next question from Twitter. How are you prepared how are you prepared or ready to tackle the massive drug problem here in the city? After all, most of the residents do smoke crack. And that was directed towards Morimoto.
Well, like I said, we've been working real hard as of late. We've been overseeing some drug operations. We've been trying to sting them as well as we can with our current force. We're always looking to improve, and we're always striving to make this city a safer place.
Very well, thank you. Under Sheriff Kelly, same question.
Oh, then almost the same response. We've opened up LEO applications again, and that was through the LSPD. Chief Warren agreed to open up for recruit status and then get an academy together pretty soon. So by welcoming more people to the force, we'll have a larger force base to combat the drugs. The question was directed to in the city, and I'm taking that as here in the Los Santos proper area, not so much in the county where the Blaine County Sheriff's Office has its headquarters. So it would most likely be us working hand in hand with the LSPD and a bunch of the new incoming cadets to teach them properly and have a force large enough to oversee the drug areas We've recently had a lot of drug busts down at the specific areas for processing, and those have been very successful. And we intend on continuing that. And once we have more people, hopefully we can crack down on that even harder and get it to the point where people don't even go there anymore.
Yeah, very well. Sheriff Morimoto, would you like to rebut or add to that?
Well, LSPD is recruiting. We pull most of our forces from the LSPD. We also have a great force of training officers, so we're making sure that they're getting trained in the proper way, and we're always trying to improve that as well.
Very well, very well. Thank you, candidates. Now this time, we're going to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to be taking a question from the audience. So if anyone has a question, go ahead and put your hands up, and I'll be calling on you. Come forward and ask your question to one or both the candidates. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Just gonna sit here silently staring at you awkwardly. Miss Carmichael, come on, front and center.
Hello.
Go ahead and state your name and what your occupation is, and then go ahead and ask your question.
Move up a little bit forward. Hi. I am Susie Carmichael. I am EMT at LSFD, and my question today is it's kind of a joint question for both candidates. Jasmine, were you present at the last debate?
I was not. I had another engagement and was not able to attend.
Okay, then I'll give you a quick rundown. Satachi had mentioned that he wanted to have bi-weekly gatherings here, actually, at Maze Bank Arena with the public to discuss things that they were interested in or how things were going or giving updates, and there wasn't one at all, if I was aware of. So my question is to you, Jasmine, would you plan on having any of these bi-monthly or bi-weekly or any types of gatherings to just hear from the public? And for you, Satachi, what was your reasoning behind, if there weren't any of these, it's possible I could have missed them, of why you did not follow through with that statement you had made during the last debate?
Alright, since that was a two-part question, we'll split it up a little bit. We can go ahead, since Sheriff Morimoto was kind of the direct line of question, we'll start off with his response, and then we'll go on to Sheriff Kelly.
I actually attempted to come down here for a good month and a half or so, and no one really showed up, so it's kind of hard to put that together. Everyone's out doing whatever they're doing whenever I try and come around and get a meetup. So there wasn't really a point in me coming down here every other week or however long and have no one show up, so it sort of fell out of plans, I suppose.
Yeah, very well. And under Sheriff Kelly, the question was, I believe what the intention of this question was that what are you going to do for public outreach in the city or in the state?
Well, we always have an open door policy. They're always able to approach us or even write letters. As far as an open forum for people to come and voice their concerns on a stage like this, I'd have to side with the sheriff on this. Even if I come down here, what's to say that people are going to show up? If it's the same person or 2 or 3 people every time, I mean, yeah, I can address their concerns, but does it really represent the city as a whole? I don't think so. And so a lot of people also are timid at public speaking. So they may show up, but they may not speak their mind. They may not voice their concerns in an open forum like this. And if people say that they want it and they voice it, I can do it. Otherwise, I won't promise that it will be happening on any regular time schedule. However, I do encourage people to write letters, both to myself or to any member of the command for law enforcement, to voice their ideas, concerns, and anything that they're wanting to discuss with us. If we don't have open forums like this in the city, that is another method of ensuring that your voice is heard. Petitions work too.
All right, very well. And since it was kind of a two-part question, we allowed Morimoto to answer the direct question, but at the same time, we're going to ask you about the same kind of question for public relations and public outreach. Mr. Morimoto, your take?
I've readily made myself available for any emails that may come in, text messages, letters, anything that regards the LSPD or BCSO. So I always have an open door, and all you have to do is, shoot me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Very well, thank you, candidates. Thank you, Susie. All right, this time, let's turn towards the Twitter once more. Under Sheriff Kelly, this was a question from left field, but do you think clown vans should be made illegal? Clown vans.
Illegal? No. Do they scare people? Yes.
Yeah, very concise. Sheriff Morimoto, same question.
As far as I'm concerned, it's a completely legal street vehicle, although clowns do scare some people.
Yeah, perfect. All right, another question. Do you believe there should be harsher punishments to repeat violent offenders? And we'll start off with Morimoto, since Ms. Kelly started off with the last one.
For repeat violent offenders, I do believe that there should be longer sentencing, just because if they're constantly hurting the civilians of, Los Santos or up in the county area,
So you guys
and
know,
county
you can ask
sheriff's
questions in
area,
the stream chat too.
then
I'll ask them.
they should be reprimanded for it. And if they're just continuing to act the same way without, changing their ways or changing how they're acting, then obviously they require a stricter punishment.
Yeah, thank you, Sheriff. Under Sheriff, same question.
Same answer. Yes, I do believe there should be longer sentences and harsher punishments for repeat offenders. In fact, we do have a system in place for that. We do attempt to get them rehab at first to see if their behavior and attitude will change. And if not, then we submit the proper paperwork to the courts for allowed to extend their sentencing.
Yeah, very well. Is there anything else you wish to add, Sheriff Morimoto?
I do want to add that currently we have a new DA in town, and we are currently trying to work with them closely to get everything streamlined and get everything happening a little bit more quickly than what it has in the past. So we're working on our relationship with them and working really hard to get everything to happen a little bit more quickly.
Very well, thank you. All right, this time we'll switch it back to the audience, try to keep it fresh. Anyone who would like to ask a question, go ahead and raise your hands, and we'll call on you to step forward. Just gonna sit here and awkwardly stare at the crowd until someone's brave enough to step up. Come on, we want to hear from you.
I've got one.
Yeah. Why don't you step forward here, say your name, occupation.
I'm Vita Meek Gaddington. I'm Deputy Chief of the LSPD. This is a question to both candidates, and it's genuinely
closer to him a little bit.
Sure.
Thank you.
It's genuinely a question just to pick both your minds. What are your thoughts on the candidacy process? And would there be anything that you would change regarding this process?
Yeah, great question. Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Chief. All right, Let's go with Under Sheriff Kelly. You get the first response on this one.
If you're talking about how one gets to be a candidate for sheriff, the process that it was currently in effect for this round was based on suggestions that I had submitted to the government, and I believe the sheriff also submitted them as well. We voiced our opinions on how the last election was done with candidate selection, and the changes were made for this round. So I don't believe that there are any more changes necessary. I'm very happy with how with the requirements to become a candidate and the method in which the selection happened. It would be nice to be able to come to the city and make your selection and nominations, but until that ability comes to our city, the method in which it happened this time, I'm perfectly happy with, and no changes necessary.
All right, Sheriff Morimoto.
I'm pretty okay with the way that the candidates are selected in the city as well. It's always their choice on whether they would like to, forgo and, run for the elections of sheriff. However, I do wish that they would be more informed on what their job would be before stepping up into that position. That way they're 100% sure that they want to run for that position.
Well, Under Sheriff Kelly, is there anything you wish to add or rebut?
No.
Yeah, thank you, candidates. Yeah, okay, we'll move on to the Twitter questions now. Now, this is going to be more of just a personal one. This is going to be a personal question. It's a personal preference question from, it's going to give you the human side, okay? Under Sheriff, Sheriff Morimoto, peanut butter, smooth or chunky?
Probably smooth.
All right, Under Sheriff Kelly.
Smooth as well.
Yeah, there's no debate on that one. Okay, I had the feeling that you guys might go to blows over that one. All right, the next question. What is your opinion? Actually, let's skip that one for later. How do you plan to continue to deal with the large gun problem we have in this city? Under Sheriff Kelly, you can go first on this one.
When people talk about the gun problem, currently I know that there is an illegal market and people stockpiling weapons. It's just about due diligence and vigilance. If there is probable cause to pat down a person, we call it a Terry frisk, then we need to be utilizing that. And especially if people are seen with weapons in public, sometimes we have mistakes. We wake up and we have a weapon out in our hands and we let that slide, but it's definitely, there's definitely times when people come back much later and use that weapon on you, and or the civilians, and that's definitely not okay. What we need to be doing is to have more control, licensing. We need to stop the ammunition from selling guns to people who have invalid licenses. Proper license checks need to be at the proprietor levels, not just the cop level. If they need us to step in, we can do that, but I think it will be talking with the business owners and making sure that weapons are not put into people's hands who have licenses that are invalidated due to violent uses.
All right, Sheriff Morimoto, same question.
Well, yes, there is a huge gun problem within Los Santos. Like Under Sheriff Conley said, it relies a lot on the owners of the ammunition and checking those licenses diligently. There is an illegal market for guns as well. No matter how many guns we take off the street, until people stop selling their weapons illegally to the markets, we're doing the best we can to cut down on the guns within Los Santos. And I do believe that Terry frisk involves reasonable suspicion, not probable cause.
Very well. Is there anything you wish to add to that, Under Sheriff Kelly?
Nope, I believe we said everything that needed to be said on that one.
Yeah, thank you. Alright, this time, turn to the audience once more. Is anyone brave enough to step up and ask the candidates a question? Yes, sir. Go ahead and state your name and your occupation.
Paul Owen, millionaire.
Yeah, go ahead. And-
My question is, with the recent uprising in violent crime, what does the BCO intend to do to combat that?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oops. Sorry, just get a message. Yeah, alright. Sheriff Morimoto, you get the first response on this.
Currently we are working
idea
behind the
what the question
scenes
is.
on creating more trainings on how to deal with these violent criminals. We are also working on having more trainings in general to better equip our officers with what they need in order to combat against these criminals as well. We're working around the clock on getting, better trained and, the proper equipment that we need to further forgo this crime spree that's been happening as of late.
Yeah, thank you. Under Sheriff Kelly.
To add on to that, it's something that has already been said today, but it's not just more trainings, but it's more people. Like I said, the applications opened up again. We've had plenty of applicants, and we've got our people on it to get these people through interviews and scheduling academy upcoming soon. So with more people in our force, we will
I
be
see,
able
I see.
to better combat the rising crime in the city. Along with the trainings to make sure that they're not being sent in blind and untrained, to make sure that they can handle what's coming at them and at the proper levels with the proper weaponry and the proper training.
Alright, Sheriff Morimoto, is there anything you wish to add or rebut? So you guys know, I see in chat if you guys want to ask a question.
No, I think we pretty much covered this topic pretty well.
Thank you.
Alright, turning to the Twitter questions. It looks like we have a few more pouring in. Just reading over them. Alright, this is a question that came in. It says, how do you... Oh, wait, what's it? Where'd it go? Alright, what is your opinion of SecuroServe beating the elderly at the nearby retirement home? This one's for Under Sheriff Kelly. How do you feel about SecuroServe beating up elderly people?
Well, that's definitely not okay, and if that is reported to us, we're going to send our officers there to arrest the perpetrators and throw them in jail. Justice will be served. You do not mistreat your elders, no matter what, even if they, especially if they don't understand what's going on. A lot of elders, or if they're in nursing homes and whatnot, they're in there for a reason, and they need people to take care of them, not hurt them. So that's definitely not okay.
Yeah, very well. Sheriff Morimoto?
That is against the law, and it's really unforgivable. The elderly are, people who, raise the current citizens of, Los Santos and provide livings for people here in the city. They should be really treated with more respect and they should, be respected and taken care of properly.
Yeah, very well. I think I'm not sure if that who sent that question, but I think they might have been lying. Anyway, let's turn to the crowd again. Anyone want to step up and ask a question? Don't be shy. We're probably going to be wrapping this up here in the next 5 to 10 minutes, so you want to get your questions in, you got to get it now.
Susie, I think that's a question.
Yeah, why don't you step up there, Susie?
Hi, Susie Carmichael again, EMT of the LSFD. My question is, if you were elected sheriff, what is your first objective that you will focus on for the term? What is your first thing you're going to work on that's a high priority for you personally?
All right, was this directed towards one or
both
one
candidates?
Or the other? Okay. All right. Sheriff Morimoto, go ahead and take this on.
The first thing that I've been working on getting better equipment imported into the town. As of recently, been working on a few different things behind the scenes, helping officers getting trained a little bit better, improving training environment. These are all things I've been working on throughout the whole entire term, and I'm continuing to work on even as this election goes on, so it's all continuous for me.
Yeah, thank you. I just realized that question was worded a little weirdly for yourself. Under Sheriff Kelly, though, I believe that's the way the question was worded is more appropriate. What would be your first thing that you would do if elected?
Well, I've served about 6 months under the current sheriff, and what I am going to do is exactly what he did when he was first elected. No matter what my agenda is and what plans I have, the first thing I'm going to do when I take office, if I do get elected, that is, it would be to sit down and have a Blaine County Sheriff's Office meeting with all of our officers and ask them if they're happy, get a welfare check, a status check basically, what their ideas are, what they think we need to do and improve on, things they like and don't like, and get their opinions and feel for everything. Are we headed in the right direction? If not, what do we need to do to get there? Once I get that feedback, I'm going to take that and work with the command members of my department and make sure, as well as LSPD, is informed on anything that we might need to change or might need to discuss. And from then on, implement changes as necessary to make sure that all of the officers in the Blaine County Sheriff's Office are happy and feel that we are heading in a direction of which they are proud of.
Great. Sheriff Morimoto, anything to add or to rebut on that?
No, I think that was, beautifully stated, so.
Yeah, perfect. It's similar to the questions that was asked a little bit earlier, but it's more specific to the gangs, okay? There's also been a large creation and activity of gangs in the city with a level of violence to match. How are you prepared as sheriff to combat the gang warfare terrorizing the city? Like I said, it's similar to what was said, but this is more specifically towards the gangs. Since Sheriff started off the last one, under Sheriff Kali, you can take the initiative on this one.
This is going to be the same answer as anything for the guns and the general violence. We can't do anything without people, which is why we're hiring, why we're training. We can't do anything with our people if they're not properly trained and properly equipped. So perhaps getting different types of weaponry, training for that type of weaponry, breach training, hostage negotiations, hostage safety, hostage recovery, whatever term and type of training is needed. We have to have the people to do it. So it's a tier, it's a step process. Get people in the door, train them, put them on the streets, and secure the areas.
Thank you. Sheriff Morimoto.
It's the same thing as Under Sheriff Cully said, is we're, trying to get more people in the door. We're trying to import some more equipment, better equipment for, the people to get trained with, better trainings to, better inform individuals of what's, happening within the state of San Andreas, and we are, moving forward with what needs to happen in order to decrease gang violence and violent crimes in general.
Alright. Under Sheriff, is there anything you wish to add or rebut?
Nope.
Alright, perfect. Yeah, we get a lot of these a lot of questions oriented towards the violence. That's why it's taking me a second to pick a good one. That way we're not too redundant. Alright, we have another question for Twitter. There's allegations. What's your opinion on the Android cloning facility underneath Mission Row PD? How do you feel about the Mission Row PD having a cloning facility of androids? That one will be directed towards Sheriff Morimoto.
There is no Android cloning under Mission Row PD. We've, had multiple people down there. There are no facilities for that at all. The only place that I could think of that may have something like that may be the Humane Labs.
Okay. Same question, briefly, Under Sheriff.
Same answer, but expanded. I mean, there is no such facility underneath Mission Row. No matter how many times people want to accuse that, that is not the case. However, if that were the case, or if that is the case in any part of a city, such as the Humane Labs and whatnot, if they're cloning officers that meet the standards that our command members are currently at, such as the chief and the deputy chief and whatnot, if they are cloning outstanding citizens of Los Santos who are combated or trained to combat the guns and violence in our city, then I would be perfectly okay with that, as long as we have the ability to ensure that they do not get out of control. But unfortunately, there is no proof that such facilities exist, so it's not going to be a thing.
Alright, is there anything you want to add or rebut there, Sheriff?
I'm not 100% sure on the whole Android thing. If there's a malfunction, it could be a whole city shut down. So I'm kind of against the whole Android thing.
Alright, perfect. Alright, we're going to move on to something of more personal motivation matters. Why did you pick the Sheriff's Office over the LSPD or any other law enforcement department? This will be directed, we'll start off with Under Sheriff Kelly.
Well, I started my career in the LSPD, ended up at the Troopers Division, and then from there I went to the Sheriff's Office. It was a change in career, change in scenery, change in lifestyle, and some SOP changes. It was just, it felt right for my career for the time that these offers were given to me to make the transfer. So there is no hard reason. It was just, I followed the flow of things in my life, and this is where it led me.
Yeah, very well. Sheriff Morimoto, I know you've been part of the Sheriff's Office for quite a while, but same question. Why did you pick the Sheriff's Department over LSPD or any other law enforcement?
When I ran for sheriff 6 months ago, the Sheriff's Office was on its last legs. I saw that it needed change, and I ran for sheriff at that time. I ended up winning the election, and now we have a stronger Blaine County Sheriff's Office than we've ever had in the past. And I'm happy to call it my home.
Yeah, very well. Yes. Alright, we're going to be taking one last one from the audience. So, if anyone would like to step up and ask one final audience question, go make yourself known. Yeah, come on up there, Susie.
Susie Carmichael again, EMT LSFD. My question to you both is, do you feel that the opposite, running for sheriff, would be suffice as sheriff if you personally were not elected as sheriff?
Yeah, Sheriff Morimoto.
I feel like the Blaine
I
County
didn't hear
Sheriff's
the question.
Office is in a really good and really strong position right now. I feel like if Under Sheriff Conley took over, it would continue to run well, continue to make improvements. I feel like it's moving in the right direction. As long as everything keeps moving the way that it currently is.
Yeah, very well. Under Sheriff Khalid.
Yes, I'm fully confident that if he were reelected, he could continue the path that we are on, the path that he created, and being that he already proved that for 6 months, I know that he can continue that good trajectory for another 6.
Alright, perfect. Yeah, sorry about that. I a buzzing in my ear, so I didn't quite catch the question, so I wasn't sure how to direct it. Anyway, alright, so we're gonna ask one final Twitter question for the most part. Let's see. What's your opinion on the illegal aliens moving to the city? And this one's directed at Sheriff, Under Sheriff Kelly. You can begin.
You're gonna have to specify illegal aliens because, as far as I'm aware, there are none illegal.
Yeah,
But it's definitely not something that I would be happy with if that is the case.
Alright, Sheriff Morimoto, the crisis with the illegal immigrants.
As far as I'm concerned, there isn't an illegal immigrant problem currently. All the flights into Los Santos make sure that everyone has a green card or a passport in order to get into the state of San Andreas here. I have not seen an illegal immigrant here as of yet, so.
Yeah, is there anything you wish to add or rebut on there, Under Sheriff Kelly?
Nothing to rebut, no.
Yeah. Oh, I just had a fucking question. I forgot it. Alright, question for Sheriff Morimoto. Have you ever colluded with any foreign interests that might be interfering with this election?
I have not.
Neither have I.
Straight to the point. Straight out denying it. Alright. Well, we did have some reports that there might be some foreign collusion between one of the candidates or the other. However, that will be the final question. Unless anyone else from the audience wishes to step forward, we'll be cutting this off here shortly and sending it back to Victoria Summers. So I'll give it about 10 seconds. If anyone else steps forward, we'll be closing off the debate with the closing statements. Okay. No final questions. All right. So at this time, we'll be doing closing statements. So since Sheriff Morimoto started the debate with his motivations and all that, we'll call on Under Sheriff Khalid to giving your closing statement.
Well, as you've heard from us, we both pretty much have the same opinions about how the Blaine County Sheriff's Office should go and what we need to do to police the city stronger and better. And so, no matter who you choose in the election, I hope that you vote knowing that no matter who you pick, the Blaine County Sheriff's Office will be in wonderful hands, and your city will hopefully be going in the right direction once we are able to get more people into the force when we work hand in hand with the LSPD.
All right, Sheriff Morimoto, closing statement.
I would just like to say that the Blaine County Sheriff's Office is, currently in good hands, and whoever gets elected, it'll continue to be in good hands. Would also like to mention that the Blaine County Sheriff's Office and LSPD have gotten more close to the other government occupations within the city, whether it be the LSFD or the DOJ. We've been more open with them. We've talked more with them. We've gotten a closer relationship with all the government facilities, which is what we were aiming to do over the last 6 months, and we hope to continue that moving forward as well.
All right, very well. Thank you, candidates, for showing up to this debate. We're going to be closing this off now. All right, thank you, audience, for showing up and having your questions. This is Gene Weathers from Weasel News, live down here at the debate. Going to be sending it back to Victoria Summers up at the Weasel News headquarters. If we could go ahead and give the candidates a nice round of applause for their participation. We'll be sending it back to Victoria Summers. Alright, guys, I'm sure that the candidates will probably be mingling around if you want to ask them any more personal questions. However,